are now listening to The Sports Nuts.
And good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Sports Corner Show. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ralph Williams. I am the host of the Sports Corner Show. Yeah, what do you want to talk about? And let me talk to you. Let us talk to you today. We got a lot to talk about. Two great guests coming on today. Coming up in a few moments, we're going to have Abe Gordon, who covers the Atlanta Falcons and also covers the Atlanta Braves. We'll talk a little bit about baseball because baseball season's just started. Our main focus today, we're going to talk about new coach Kevin Stefanski and also find out where Atlanta's going in the draft and trades and things like that. He's going to give us a skinny on all that. Then at 4:30, David Alexander from Amped Up Sports will join us. He's going to talk with us about the Las Vegas Raiders and the LA Chargers. All right. Starting next week, Sports Corner goes 2 hours all the way till the end of the draft. And the reason being is we're going to try to get somebody from every team to come on here and talk with us about what they're doing. And if they have a new coach, we're going to talk about the coach as well. So we got a lot of things going on with the draft here at Sports Corner, RW Media Productions, and the Sports Nuts. And I want to thank Brandon Keeler for letting us put our show here on the Sports Nuts Network. We're live on there as well. And I want to thank our radio partners, and especially KFC Radio in Terrell, Texas, 95.5 FM, and on the Tiger Nation live as well. Don't forget to tune into there as well. You can listen to the show there. And our other radio partners, and also across the country and around the world, we have some partners in Africa, Australia, and all across the pond over on the other side. I want to send a prayer out to our troops currently involved in the Iran war. I hope everything and prayers to them as well. And I want to do that as well. We're also live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, and we're also live on Sports Nuts Network on their Facebook page, my Facebook page, and also on the, like I said, YouTube and the Twitter X platforms. All right. Your comments are always welcome here. And let me introduce Smokin Jim Frazier, our co-host. If you're a first-timer to the show, Smokin Jim, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one.
All right. Thank you. All right. I'm going to get started with my rant first. And I want to say I told you so. And I want to say, Pitt, I want to thank you for listening to my programs, because I called you out on our radio show, the Sports Corner radio show, on Saturdays, 2 to 3 p.m. on 1250 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial, and on the Answer, pgh.com, every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. I called you out, the Pitt Athletic Department, and I said you have no backbone. Well, within the course of that week, last week, they fired Tori Verdi, the women's basketball coach. This week, I found out from some friends of mine on the alum that the alum has put some money together along with some donors, and they're going to buy out Jeff Capel's contract. Okay? So Jeff Capel's contract will be bought out as soon as the season ends. They're currently and I believe they qualified for the ACC tournament. And I want to say I told you so. And I want to say I'm glad that I called them out, and I'm glad that they listened to the program. Smokin Jim's wisdom. Go ahead, Smokin Jim.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. Congratulations for the third year in a row to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Omar Khan. They made a big splash in free agency. It keeps the brand going. It keeps the team relevant. 3 years ago was Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And so the whole off season, the sports media talked about the Steelers last year was DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers, and that kept them in the news. And this year, they did a good job of getting a second wide receiver in Pittman. So congratulations to the Steelers.
Yeah, let's hope this year it works out. We've had the Patrick Petersons of the world, the Darius Slays of the world. So we'll see what goes on beyond that. But yeah, you are correct on that, Smokin' Jim. We need to congratulate them for that, and we're gonna probably make some more splashes as we go along. They have plenty of money to play with, so I see a couple guys getting cut, but we'll talk about that later on. All right, let's introduce our guest here, Abe Gordon. Abe, welcome to the program. He covers the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta sports world here. Abe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Ralph, and Smokin' Jim. Nice to meet you guys as well.
Thank you.
I grew up in Atlanta, and I've just been obsessed with sports my whole life, and so decided to, as best I could, dedicate my life to covering sports, talking sports, and conversing with, essentially what is fun bar arguments at every turn and corner. And I've been very lucky and blessed to attend some of the events that I've attended, cover some of the sports that I've covered, and be given a platform here in Atlanta radio on 92.9 The Game to continue doing that. So just really living it and loving it right now.
I want to congratulate you for being able to do that on the radio there. So, and everything else. We have the Sports Corner radio show every Saturday up in Pittsburgh. So, but anyway, also I wanted to tell everyone we're in Studio 10 here in Berlin, Maryland, just outside of Ocean City, Maryland. So I just want to let everyone know that as well. Abe, let's get started here. New head coach Kevin Stefanski. Was this a surprise, or was Atlanta actually going to hire this guy? That's a question I have for you.
Yeah, no, I think this was pretty straight to the point here, and it felt like this was a really good match. And there's different franchises have different sorts of theories in what they want with a head coach, especially compared to what they just fired with a head coach, right? We just fired a defensive mind. So do you want an offensive mind? You just fired what people would consider a player's coach. Do you want like a hardline Tom Coughlin mindset guy, and so do you go in a crazy different direction than whatever you just came from? In Atlanta, I think they were tired of guys that maybe hadn't done it, maybe were the hot up and coming coordinator, but it didn't have experience. And so, all of those things kind of came together to me where Kevin Stefanski made sense. I do believe Kevin Stefanski is a really good coach. He was going to get a job somewhere this cycle. If it wasn't Atlanta, I do think it would have been somewhere else. And I also think if you're the Falcons, you didn't want to get caught waiting, trying to see if you could convince Clint Kubiak to take your job. And because you had to wait until after the Super Bowl. Right. If you miss out on him, everyone else has kind of been snatched up. And so,
yeah, I have David Alexander coming on at 4:30 from Amped Up Sports. He covers the Las Vegas Raiders. So we're going to see what their mindset is about when they hire Clint Kubiak. So,
and the difference is they can offer, Kubiak, here's the number one pick. The Falcons could offer them an injured Penix, or we're not sure.
Yeah, exactly,
and so if I'm Kubiak, if I'm the Falcons, I don't know if you're beating out. Yeah, well, they're cutting bait with him. We know that.
Right.
So, I think a lot of the idea behind Stefanski is this is a guy that is a two-time coach of the year in Cleveland. This is a guy that did very well when he had Baker Mayfield. This is a guy that I think if you understand how things went down in Cleveland, how that organization is run, and it's not a surprise to you guys, following from Pittsburgh or really anywhere around the country, that organization is a mess. And so Stefanski made it clear that Deshaun Watson
find a way out of a paper bag.
No, and Deshaun Watson wasn't his call. Yeah. Moving on from Baker Mayfield wasn't his call. And some of the things that took him from two-time coach of the year, a guy that's taken a team to the playoffs to where they were last season, was kind of out of his control. And so the idea, hopefully, is that he is a good coach who had a bad situation the past couple of years. Of course, you're on paper still hiring a guy that had 4 wins last season. Yeah. That doesn't necessarily sell everyone. But hopefully he's a lot more of the guy that was two-time coach of the year and a lot less of the guy that had a mess at quarterback, and one of the top few picks in the draft this year.
It looks like he has something to work with now. Tua's there now. So Brandon's asking, what are your thoughts on Tua's number one deal? Do you see it as a low risk or a potential high reward? I think he's with the right coach, Abe. Let me put it to you this way, because Tua really didn't have, I guess, the right coaching, down there in Miami. I don't know. I mean, Flores was a defensive guy. They thought McDaniel might be able to do something with him. Concussion City, they didn't give him an offensive line to work with. So if Atlanta is smart and Stefanski is smart, they'll get him an offensive line to work with, and I think he can coach up Tua. I mean,
the Falcons have an average, maybe slightly above average, but not elite or not great offensive line. It's definitely better than what he's had in Miami. I also think you have some weapons. Whether you believe it or not, you got Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. So there are some weapons there. Look, the injuries are real, right? Penix is a guy that you have injury concerns about. Tua is a guy you have injury concerns about.
Yes.
Yes. But we have seen, when healthy, when on point, we have seen Tua lead the league in passing one year, lead the league in completion percentage and efficiency a different year. So he has been good. The question is he still good? And that's something we need to find out. But ultimately, it's a guy you signed for $1.3 million. It definitely is low risk, high reward. It's a 1-year deal. If it doesn't work out, you move on from him.
Right.
I don't view this as a ton of downside. I think the argument for people who are upset that you're adding Tua is that you could have added someone better. And I just don't know if that's real. I just don't know why anyone better would choose to come to Atlanta, where you don't know if you're being given a real opportunity to win the starting job. It's a competition at best, if nothing else. And most of the fan base is probably rooting for the other guy, Michael Penix, to win the job and showcase what he can do. And so if you're one of these other guys who has potential starting ability or believes you're still a starter, why would you come to Atlanta? And so I do think that Tua was about as good as they were going to get.
All right, Smokin Jim, you have any questions for Abe?
Yeah, great job, Abe, man. I'm enjoying listening to you. Who would be on your wish list for the Atlanta Falcons for the 2026 draft?
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, without a first-round pick, they're all the way down at 48. And so, we're not going to sit here and try and project who's actually going to be available at 48. Before this legal tampering period, I would have said wide receiver. They need to get a running mate alongside Drake London. They add Jahan Dotson in free agency. They also bring back Olamide Zaccheaus. And so are those depth pieces, or are those wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3? Because I had looked at, I think you're going either wide receiver or center at second round in the draft. And one of the names that I love at receiver, I don't know if he'll be available. I don't know if there will be better receivers available. Chris Bell out of Louisville. That's a guy I really fell in love with at times this season. I think he's a big play threat.
Sort of fell under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, and he got banged up at times as well, and that kind of took him off the radar. But if you watch Louisville enough this year, he's a guy that jumped off the screen. And so, that's a guy that maybe he's the 7th or 8th best receiver in this class, falling to 48. I like him. Jake Slaughter, the center out of Florida, is a guy that seems like a great fit for this offense as well. You kind of forced Ryan Newsel into the center position this past season. He's probably better as a backup interior offensive lineman. So you might be looking to upgrade at center. You saw Tyler Linderbaum, the price tag he went for. You're definitely not going to get a quality center in free agency. And so, I do wonder if an offensive line pick there with your second rounder is the play. But Ian Cunningham has talked about not being happy that he came here to Atlanta and they only have 5 picks in this draft. So I also would not be surprised if he trades down, maybe not with that first pick, 48th overall, but certainly at times throughout the draft. I would not be surprised if he trades back, not forward, back to acquire more selections.
All right, I want to thank Lil Zay, Brandon Keeler, as always, from the Sports Nuts Network. And I want to thank RM Dizzle, who is a big fan of the show, for their comments. RM Dizzle says he heard that the new name for the quarterback room in Atlanta is now called the ER room.
Yeah, everyone has their fun until one of those guys actually plays well, and then we'll see who's laughing. But yeah, I get it. Look, the memes were great. Like, there's no doubt about it. The meme of Tua's Miami home, which was just the blue emergency tent out there, was one of my favorites. That was a good one. So
yeah, the MASH unit. I call it the MASH unit. You know. Yeah. Hey, Abe, I got another good one for you. Can't help the club if you're in the tub.
Yeah. The best ability is availability, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? You sound like Mike Tomlin there. He used to say that all the time, too. Former Steeler coach who I heard right now is residing in Georgia right now with his daughter. So down there participating in her events. And we'll talk about that another time about Mike Tomlin. I got some news. I saw one of his best friends on a podcast, and he was talking about Mike Tomlin and what he's up to these days and things like that and his future and all that. So we'll get into that later on. But if we have time today, because we only have an hour today, and then we're going to go 2 hours, no wrestle talk until after the draft. We're going to be going 2 hour Sports Corner shows every week starting next Tuesday. And please don't forget to mark on your calendar Monday and Wednesday and Friday, the Sports Nuts Show. Next week, I'm filling in for Brandon Keeler. And I want to thank Brandon for letting me host the show. I hosted Friday's show, and it was a great show. And I want to thank, it was the finale of season 5 of the Sports Nuts Show, along with Shane Owen, Matt Thomas, and Ben Willis. So we'll be back on next Monday for the start of season 6. And it's my pleasure. And I want to thank again Brandon Keeler for letting me host the show for him while in his absence. So, all right. Abe, one other question I have for you as well. What's going on right now with Kirk Cousins? Is he officially gone, or are they still holding on to him, or what's going on with him?
He's going to be gone, but because of structural and contractual language and all that stuff, they have to wait until after the league year to officially release him. So he is going to be released, but they have to wait for the league calendar to turn the page. That way they can designate it and split the salary cap hit and do it that way. But he will be a free agent shortly.
All right, I have this to say about Kevin Stefanski, and then we'll get to Smokin' Jim. I always say this, too. A change of atmosphere can do somebody good, whether it's coaching or players, okay? Look at George Pickens. He had a really good year with Dallas last year, despite the fact, his shenanigans and things like that. He still had a pretty decent year with Dallas. And, sometimes a change of scenery will do a man good. And, so I think Stefanski just might be able to do something this year. He's got support of management, it looks like, and support of, the players and everything else. I think Stefanski might not be too bad this year. We'll see what happens up there anyway. And then also you got Alex Van Pelt working down there now with him. He worked with him in Cleveland. There was some friction between the two of them. Haslam had to pull them together to get it, to stop the situation. But now Van Pelt, I guess him and Van Pelt are now getting along. And then Alex went with him down there, former Pitt quarterback, by the way, who I had the pleasure of watching at Pitt Stadium. So, all right, Smokin' Jim, do you have any final questions about the Atlanta Falcons for Abe? Because we're going to move on and talk about the Braves. Go ahead.
Hey, I just got one off the beat a little bit. Is it true that the Atlanta Hawks wanted to have a Magic City day?
Yeah, like they were fully pushing for it. Like, it was scheduled, merch was out, pre-sale orders had gone through. And the NBA stepped in and said no. And look, I understand the NBA is probably doing this because of concerns from some of their sponsors, right? Like that's what makes the most sense. is that some of their big money representatives probably didn't want to be attached to that. And so I understand that. But look, the city of Atlanta was incredibly hype about this upcoming promotion. It had gone viral. The sweatshirts, the pre-orders went crazy off the shelves. And look, it's not like they were going to have dancers at State Farm Arena, and the Hawks have been pretty creative in a lot of their promotions, and some of them are a little more edgy or creative, and this is certainly one of them. But look, at the end of the day, if you're from Atlanta, if you're a basketball fan, there is cultural ties here in Atlanta, and you listen to hip hop music and they name drop certain venues, and it all kind of does go in together. There was a documentary produced by one of the Hawks owners about that specific club, and so it all kind of tied in. It's not just out of nowhere. It's not just to get headlines. It is a cultural significance here in Atlanta, and the Hawks were paying homage to that. And apparently the NBA said that was unacceptable.
All right. Let's talk about the Braves for a minute here, Abe, while I have you a little bit. What are the Braves looking like this year? What do you think they're going to do? By the way, Jerry White says 2027 class, welcome, Jerry, to the show, is stupid deep and key positions, including quarterbacks. So what are your thoughts on that comment there, Abe, before we go to the Braves real fast?
Yeah, in theory, it is. Obviously, you can look at it and you never know how it plays out, but you're looking at guys like Arch Manning, Darian Mensah, Trinidad Chambliss, Dante Moore, Julian Sayin, and there's always going to be one or two that pop out of nowhere. Maybe it's Drew Mestamaker, who had a great year at North Texas, is transferred along with his coach to Oklahoma State. There's always guys. Gunnar Stockton potentially is in that class. I don't know if Drew Aller's coming out or what his thing, but yeah, it should be a pretty good class. But again, who knows? Just because you're picked in the first round doesn't mean that you're not going to be a bust. So it's still a risk either way.
Right, exactly. I think the only good first-round quarterback in this, other than Ty Simpson and Green from Arkansas, I agree. Other than those three guys, I think are going to get.
I don't even think Taylor Green's a quarterback in the NFL.
We'll see what happens. Smokin Jim will disagree with you on that because he likes Jalen Green, and I'm starting to believe him because I watched him in the combine a little bit, but that's with shorts on, so we'll see. You know what I mean?
I watched him play games in the SEC. That guy's a turnover waiting to happen.
All right, real fast here. What's the Braves looking like this year? Real quick, Abe.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They're going to be in the discussion, but I do think at least to start the year, they are the third best team in the NFC East. I think it's the Phillies and the Mets in whatever order you want to have them. And I do think the Braves are after that. I don't think that necessarily means they can't compete with them or won't compete with them, but they just need too much to go right. They've had massive setbacks in the rotation. They did not add to that rotation in the offseason, despite a lot of people here in Atlanta believing they needed to. And so there's just a lot of questions, and you just need too many things to go right, in my opinion, to be as good as the Mets, to be as good as the Phillies. The good news is it's baseball. And if you can win 88, 87, 88, 89 games, whatever it's going to take to get into the wild card and be good in the playoffs, I think you give yourself a chance. And so baseball, more than any other sport, I think, is get to the playoffs and see what happens. I think in the NFL, more often than not, the best team wins. I think in the NBA, more often than not, the best team wins. I think there's a little bit of that in hockey. You can catch a hot goalie and ride that out. I think in baseball, though, if you're just playing good ball at the right time of year, just as likely to be the number one seed in the American League or National League and make a run as you are to be the fifth seeded wild card. Dodgers may have something to say about that, as they're probably the one seed again. But I think it's going to be an interesting season. need a lot to go right. Ronald Acuna needs to look like an MVP. I don't even know if he can win the MVP, especially if Shohei Ohtani is pitching this year, but he needs to look like an MVP, 35 home runs, 35 stolen bases, that sort of stuff, gold glove defense and everything else that he can be. Austin Riley at third base, can't have the ups and downs, man. We need to be consistent. We need to come through. We need to be somewhere in that 280, 285 batting average. Michael Harris, let's go, man. It's time. We've been talking about you being one of potentially the best center fielders in baseball for 2 years since you came up and lit on fire as a rookie. Last year, way too much down, and then the last 25 games you were up. Need to see the up. Need to have 25 home runs, 25 steals. Ozzie Albies, again, we got to have, 17, 18, 20 home runs. And Drake Baldwin, reigning NL Rookie of the Year, can't have a drop-off, can't have a sophomore slump or setback. He needs to be where he was last year as well. So just a lot needs to go right.
Yeah, the pieces need to come in order. They need to be lucky than good in some cases,
To an extent. I just think there needs to be some consistency.
Yeah.
We've seen way too much guys riding streaks. Matt Olson's the one guy where I will admit he's probably going to ride a streak, but when he's hot, he's so hot, you kind of put up with the down moments. And he can hit 40, 50 home runs while having lengthy downturns. And so I will ride his streak and ups and downs. Can't do that with Austin Riley. Can't do that with Michael Harris.
All right, Smokin' Jim, any final questions for Abe before we let him go?
All I got to say is this might be the best guest we ever had, Ralph.
You say that every week.
Oh, don't tell me that.
No, for real. Abe, tell everybody how they can find you and what you're up to and your radio stuff and everything else. Go ahead.
Yeah, just on Twitter/X. It's just the name @Abe Gordon there. And then if you're in Atlanta or if you have the Odyssey app there, you can find us on 92.9 The Game. I'll promote on my social media when I'll be hosting. And so there you go. But definitely on Twitter. And I do like to interact there. So if you have any questions about Atlanta sports, just hit me up.
Thank you very much, Abe. And you have a great day. Thank you for being part of the show and telling us what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons and Kevin Stefanski. Have yourself a great one. Thank you. And we'll talk again. Thanks.
Yeah, Ralph, Jim, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, that was Abe Gordon from Atlanta Sports talking about the Atlanta Falcons. And now we're going to go to our next guest, which is David Alexander from Amped Up Sports. David, it's been a while. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Ralph. How are you? You're looking good there, Ralph.
I appreciate that. Well, it's the new place I live. I moved to Ocean City or near Ocean City, man.
I lived in DC for 20 years. I have fond memories of Ocean City. You ended up in a good place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, happy as can be. Got some bumps in the road here with the house and some other stuff, but we'll get there. So
good, very good.
Glad to hear. Thank you, David. Thank you, Dave, for being part of the show. David covers the Las Vegas Raiders and the LA Chargers for Amped Up Sports, and our friends Leo Haggerty and the rest of the gang there at Amped Up Sports, Ryan Neal, and also, man, I lost track, Mike Sivsak as well. We've had on the show many times. David, tell us a little bit about the Raiders. What are they doing in the draft this year? They got rid of Geno Smith. They got Kenny Pickett's gone, who just signed a contract with the Carolina Panthers. Now, I know Kenny Pickett stinks. This is his fourth team, but I tell you, I think this might be the one for him because Dave Canellis is a very good coach at working with quarterbacks. Okay. Dave Canellis, very good at working with quarterbacks. Look what he did with Baker Mayfield in Tampa. Look what he did in Seattle. So I think maybe this might just be the one for him. I can't say that, but I can say what I know about Dave Canellis. But anyway, David, tell us a little bit about Clint Kubiak. What's going on with the Raiders?
Well, the Raiders have been the most active team over the past couple of days. They came into this. Well, again, let's start with last year. Pete Carroll comes in, Geno Smith comes in, and they win 3 games. So this year they got finally realized that a rebuild was there. $120 million under the cap, so they had plenty of money to spend. Number one draft pick coming in, and I think again it kicked off with the Max Crosby trade, picking up 2 firsts, one for this year and one for next year as well too. But very busy in the free agency market over the past couple of days. Again, the Crosby trade was big, and they're bringing this kid Tyler Linderbaum in from the
Linderbaum,
Ravens.
yeah, he went
Big
to the
move.
Raiders. Yes,
Big move. Yeah, 3-time All-Pro.
Yeah,
And I think it signals a couple of things. The obvious is they're going to go ahead and draft Mendoza, but I think the recognition that the offensive line was absolutely terrible last year. They immediately upgraded when they brought Linderbaum in. He's a terrific player.
Oh, yes.
And again, if you're going to put a rookie quarterback back there.
Former Detroit Lion, I believe. Yeah, former Detroit Lion, I believe.
Lion, okay.
Atlanta. Yeah, okay.
Really good way to start.
I thought he was with Detroit for some reason. I don't know where I got that at.
Then they strengthened their defense as well, too. They're going to switch to a 3-4 defense next year and brought in 2 excellent linebackers, N'Kobe Dean from the Eagles and Quay Walker, the backers. Former teammates at Georgia are going to come in and really bolster that defense. Yeah.
Okay.
They've had some big moves. Another sneaky move they had was this kid Jalen Naylor, who played for the Vikings.
Yeah, I know Jalen Naylor. Yeah, I've seen him.
Didn't get as much of a run, I think, for a couple of reasons with the Vikings, but he could be a real surprise for the Raiders next year. So they've done some really good things just in the past 2 days. The Geno Smith trade again today, assuming they're going to pay a big chunk of Geno's salary. Interesting, Geno going back to the Jets.
Where did he go today? Where'd he go?
He went back to the Jets.
Whoa!
For a 7.
Whoa! A reunion with the Jets.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Aaron Glenn finally realized he needs a better quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and we'll find out if Geno's better. Now this goes back again. I think the point you made about Kenny Pickett, where you a lot of teams don't get it right the first time with the quarterback.
Right.
We've seen that.
This is his 4th game, so he's got to do something.
We'll see if this is it. He keeps getting a chance, and hopefully I will admit, I thought Kenny Pickett had a real chance coming out of Pitt to be a pretty good quarterback, and we'll see if the 4th time's a charm. We'll see.
Well, I'll add this to you, and then I'll let Smokin Jim ask you a couple questions here.
Sure.
And I forgot to introduce Smokin Jim, my co-host here by phone. Smokin Jim, say hello to David Alexander.
Hey, doing a great job, David. Enjoying this conversation, buddy.
Nice to hear from you again, Jim. Hope you're doing well.
My man.
Yeah, and David, I don't know if you noticed or not, but the Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett for one purpose. They did not want to hear the backlash from Pitt fans for a second time after they blew it with Dan Marino. Okay? Pitt fans, Kenny Pickett was there. You didn't take him, okay, in the first round, or you didn't take him. And if he was to go somewhere else and succeed, they're going to say the Steelers blew it again after they blew it with Dan Marino. So that was the main reason why they drafted Kenny Pickett.
Well, he's certainly no Dan Marino. We can all agree on that.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, exactly. But I'm not saying this to toot his horn, but I think Carolina might be his landing spot because, like I said, Dave Canellis is very good at working with quarterbacks. So we'll see what he does with them.
We shall see.
What I mean? You put him in the right position to win games. The right system, that kind of thing. So,
and again, more and more evidence that a lot of teams don't know what to do with a quarterback once they get them. Again, you mentioned Baker Mayfield's name; it's a great example.
Change of atmosphere will do a man good.
Exactly. So we shall see. I wish him luck. So
we'll look at Sam Darnold. So I mean, So he's an example of how I say that every time, and not just with players, but also with coaches. You know what I mean? We just had Abe Gordon on from Atlanta, and now Stefanski's coaching down there. I think he'll do better there than he did in Cleveland. You know what I mean? Anybody can do better anywhere than in Cleveland. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. So, George Hallis could win it.
Yeah.
Be honest.
Do you have any questions for David?
Yeah. I tell you what, man, I'm just, the NFL is always better when the Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders is contending. And I think that, they can't help but to be successful with all the draft picks, not only now and in the future, and getting a pretty good quarterback. After in the first round, you're going to draft a quarterback from Indiana, but who's on your wish list after that, David?
Well, I think they find themselves like a lot of teams. Their offensive line was terrible last year, so I think they're picking first with, and that's going to be Mendoza. They're picking 14, which was the Colts. Colts. There we go. The Ravens pick. I'm going to assume it's going to be an offensive lineman because they really need to rebuild that offensive line. I think Ashton Genty, the running back they drafted last year, is a pretty good player, but he struggled last year behind that offensive line. So I would not at all be surprised if it's an offensive lineman. If not offensive lineman, probably a cornerback. There seems to be a number of good cornerbacks coming out of college this year. So I would think one of those two will be the pick at 14. And again, I don't think the free agency market, they still have money to spend. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go out, try to find another lineman in the free agency pool over the next couple of days as well. But those would be my picks. 14, let me get an offensive lineman. If not an offensive lineman, a defensive back.
All right. We're going to, it's Sports Corner here along with the Sports Nuts Network. We're going to be indulging in the NFL draft here. I want to thank Brandon Keeler for letting us put our show on the Sports Nuts Network now. And also, we're going to be indulging into the NFL draft, doing some comprehensive stuff here. I'm going to have guests on. We're going to be breaking down positions. Smokin Jim and I broke down wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, and also on the Sports Corner radio show on Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. on 1250 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial up in Pittsburgh. We are on Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin Jim, Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. We're going to be breaking down tight ends, free agent tight ends. We're going to be breaking down who's in the draft. And our special guest will be Ray Fittipaldo from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He's going to come on to talk with us about the Steeler free agency signings of Jamal Dean and also Pittman Jr. And we re-signed Asante Samuel Jr. I'm telling you right now, man, the Steelers are digging in deep with Mike McCarthy as head coach and a whole new attitude and a whole new perspective here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I like it. Okay, David, let's get into the LA Chargers with their new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel. What are we looking at here this year?
That was probably their most important move, was getting McDaniel in there. Again, I think he brings a level of experience at the position.
And that should help Herbert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the key right now. The key to the Chargers is keeping Herbert upright and healthy. The last couple of years, he's broken down. The season's gone on. Signing Charlie Kolar, backup tight end for the Ravens. The new flavor of the NFL is what they call the 12 plays, the 12 positions with the two tight ends. Kolar is a blocker. He is a blocker. So I think that's certainly going to strengthen their ability, to run block, which will take pressure off Herbert and also keep Herbert off as well, too. Re-signed Khalil Mack, which I thought was kind of interesting. I think there was only a one-year deal, so we'll see.
If he stays healthy, he can do it.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, that's always a challenge there.
Yeah, how about Bosa? Is he still there? Or
Bosa left there. He went to Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's trying to strengthen their ability to run the ball better. Now, again, who's actually going to run the ball is kind of up in the air. But again, that idea of what they call the well, we shall see again. Harbaugh's he's kind of disposable with his running backs. I think it would be nice to see Najee come back, but I'm sure Harbaugh thinks the easiest position to fill in the running game is the running back. I might disagree a bit with that, but that's another story. So strengthening of the offensive line, more protection for Herbert, a better running game, which also protects Herbert as well. I think that's the real key right there. They struggled with some losses. They lost Zion Johnson, who I thought was a pretty good guard but couldn't stay healthy. And they lost Adefe Owe, one of their defensive linemen who played really well for them last year. He signed away someplace as well, too. So they still have some holes to fill. It'd be interesting to see what happens between free agency and the draft. But they know their first priority is protecting Justin Herbert. That they won't go anywhere if Herbert can't stay healthy over the course of the year.
All right, Stephen from South Side of Pittsburgh. We call it the South Side. He is my number one fan. He used to watch my show on PCTV back in Pittsburgh when I was on in the 90s and the early 2000s for a little bit there as well. Smokin Jim, any questions for David about the LA Chargers?
Well, I'll tell you what, one of my favorite teams, man.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's your favorite quarterback, I think.
Yeah, their offensive line I thought was a problem last year, but what are you looking for in the draft this year for the Chargers, David?
Well, again, it's funny. Again, I listened a little bit with your previous guest, and talking about baseball, everybody wants pitchers. In football, everybody wants offensive linemen. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers really try to bolster the offensive line through the draft as well too. I would also think, again, are there impact wide receivers out there? Is there somebody out there who helps Herbert stretch the field? I'm a big Justin Herbert fan as well too, and I think he's just been poorly served by the fact that he doesn't have that real home run hitter at the wide receiver. Rondé Gatson, who they drafted in the 5th round last year at tight end, really played well, but he's not the traditional tight end. So they need somebody out there who can really kind of stretch the field. So again, offensive line, like most teams in the NFL, you can never have too many linemen. I'd also think they're going to look to see if they can get themselves a wide receiver, someone to really kind of stretch the field for them. Those would be my guesses for their draft.
All right. Yeah, they're going to have to get somebody to do for Justin Herbert, some talent out here. They're going to have to. What's their salary cap look like? Can they go into free agency, dig in a little bit, or
they can dig in a little bit? Again, the one team that had the most money were the Raiders. The Chargers don't have as much money now. They freed some money up, particularly through some of the folks that they lost, but they don't have the kind of money to go out and get. And the name that's been floated around has been A.J. Brown. I don't think they can get A.J. Brown. I don't think they have enough to offer the Eagles to get A.J. Brown. That would be intriguing. Putting Jim Harbaugh and A.J. Brown in the same room would be worth the price of admission right there.
Admission for that one, yeah. Exactly, I would like to see that. Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think they've got the resources to pry A.J. Brown away from him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens there. And I'm interested to see what Mike McDaniel does there as their offensive coordinator. That's got me, a little intrigued.
I agree too. Yeah, he was terrific coordinator. Worked well under Shanahan. He brings a lot of the Shanahan characteristics. I think that one of the struggles again that I think the Chargers have had over the past 2 years, pretty sort of vanilla offense. Let's have Herbert bail us out. That
we had Kellen Moore there for a little while. Kellen Moore wasn't bad. When Kellen Moore was there.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
But again,
they had a vanilla offense last year.
That'll only get you so far. So I think you realize McDaniel is a bit more exotic.
Arthur Smith offense.
There you go.
I'm glad he's with Ohio State because then I think he'll be the one that costs Ryan Day his job if he gets fired.
Another loss to Michigan, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, man. Do you know Ohio State would probably bomb up the stadium or something or they would burn couches like they do in West Virginia and some other places, Oh my gosh, they would go bananas in Ohio State if they
So I think McDaniel will bring variety to the offense. And again, anything that gives Herbert more tools will make the Chargers a better team. They're good enough to get to the playoffs. They've proven that. But that next step, which they just haven't taken over the past couple of years, they have to look at the next step. That's really what they have to look at. So,
okay, all right. Do you have any questions for David there, Smokin' Jim?
No, always enjoy you, David. Man, you're the best.
All right.
Thank you, sir. He says that to everybody, and I appreciate
it. No, but he means what he says. I mean, he says I'm the best too, and
and we believe him. We believe him.
Of course, he's the best. Smokin' Jim's the best too. So, I'm the one that gives him the most credit.
There you go.
All right, David. Thank you for being on the show today. I appreciate it. It's been a while, but we'll have you back on again later on in the year. I have to look at the Steelers schedule if we're playing any one of your teams there. So
I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule either, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't looked at. I have to thoroughly go over the schedule. I'm focused on a draft right now. And free agents and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've been focusing, what they call zeroing in on that, right now. Getting ready for
Let me ask you a question while you're doing that too.
Go ahead.
Do you think Mendoza is a pro-level quarterback, this kid from Indiana? Have you seen enough to believe that Fernando Mendoza is – because he's going to be the first pick. Do you believe he has the tools to be a top-flight quarterback in the NFL?
Okay, I'll tell you this, and this is from experience of seeing these things.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not thrown to the dogs right away, yes. Okay, which means if he's not starting day one, let him sit, let him watch – get a veteran in there. Mm-hmm. Let him sit. Let him watch. Then, if you need him to be put in, and you think he's ready, then you put him in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jordan Love became successful sitting behind Rodgers all those years. So that model should be used a lot. I mean, but if you throw him into the fire, I'm not sure what he can do. I don't know.
You and I are old enough to remember that was the way you treated all rookie. They always sat the first year, sometimes the second year they would sit as well too.
Yes.
But again, trying to take advantage of the salary cap, the rookie salary cap with quarterbacks, who rushed them in. Again, we talk about a lot of quarterbacks who make Baker Mayfield's a great example. I think Shador Sanders is going to end up someplace else as well too, because Cleveland doesn't have patience. So I was just wondering, since you studied the draft more than I only watched him really play probably 6 or 7 games this year. He always made the big play, which I really liked about him.
Yes.
Mendoza. Yeah. He always made the big play.
Oh, yeah, he did. I watched him in the national championship game. I caught the game against Penn State. I mean, he just, I think he is a pro caliber quarterback. If, and I say if, they don't just throw him to the dogs. You know what I mean? Let him learn, get a veteran quarterback in here that could hold the fort down at least for maybe 6 games, 7 games. Then if he stinks, then you put Mendoza in.
And I'm hoping again, this is Tom Brady has to have some say in this pick, and assuming Brady sees something in him, that makes him the number one pick.
Exactly. But I see a lot. Curt Cignetti's a good coach. I mean, he took Indiana University to several championships, and his brother is coaching with the Steelers now. He's Frank Cignetti is an offensive assistant under the offensive coordinator, an offensive assistant to the assistant in the movie theater, from Fast Times at Richmond High. Oh, hey, Rad, you're the assistant to the assistant manager in the movie theater. I always use that when we got these assistants to the assistant. You know what I mean?
A full page of assistants in the book as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
all right. Well, very good. I'm interested to see how Mendoza does.
So am I. How about you, Smokin' Jim? What's your thoughts on Mendoza?
He's not a game changer, David. He can manage. You're looking at a guy that's game in and game out, be a game manager. Maybe down the stretch in the fourth quarter, if you need him to win a game, he can win a game or two for you. But he's no Dan Marino, John Elway. He's not one of those type guys, man.
Or anybody like
I don't think he has to be. Fortunately, I don't think. But again, the Raiders have had 7 quarterbacks start games for them since the 2023 season.
DeMarcus Russell.
7, and they're still living that one down. So
beating us up.
I'm intrigued to see how this is going to work. I really am.
Don't forget. I believe it's June 1st, or is it July 1st? Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah, July
1st, I think it is. Yeah, Bobby Bonilla Day. And we got guess how many more years we got of that? We got about 5 more years. I think it's 2031, and he's done 5 more years of Bobby Bonilla Day. So there you go. All right, David. Thank you again for being part of the show. Say hello to Leo and all the gang for me.
It was my pleasure, Ralph. Thank you very much. Jim, you take care as well.
All right, thanks, David. That was David Alexander from Amped Up Sports talking. This show will also be uploaded onto Amped Up Sports, the Amped Up Sports, Fan First Sports Network, and Draft Nation as well. So I want to let everyone know you can watch it on those platforms as well. Check out Draft Nation with Joe Kuglis. He's going to have a show coming up at the NFL Draft in Pittsburgh where he's going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. He's got some podcasts going on right now, some great guests coming on. Check out draftnation.com and for all the details on that, and also Fan First Sports Network, where all my sports media programming is also uploaded onto as well. All right, Smokin' Jim Frazier, your thoughts on our guest, and we'll get into Jamal Dean and Pittman Jr. Go ahead.
Man, we had 2 headliners today, man. They brought it strong, man.
And I got some more coming. So
again, you don't have to be a Big Ben Roethlisberger or Dan Marino or Elway, but it helps. You know what I mean? Mendoza's not a guy that's going to carry the team on his back like those guys could. And so you're talking about a guy that's being picked first overall. He's not a Peyton Manning who was picked first overall. So you can win. You know, you can't make mistakes, can't turn the ball over. Your margin of error is very small when you're a game manager.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yes.
Big Ben and them could come back from being down 21 points. You know,
Yeah.
Mendoza's not going to be able to do that.
No,
And,
not yet. Not yet. I mean,
not never.
Yeah,
not
right.
never. Not never. He's just he just wasn't born with those kind of abilities.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Joe Namath with the quick release and all that, man. These guys were born to be quarterbacks, man. So yeah, you can win, but you can't turn the ball over.
No.
Steelers won with Neil O'Donnell till he turned the ball over in the Super Bowl.
Oh my God!
And that's something.
Yeah.
And that's something that he never ever did before. You know, he was very careful with the football, and you can't overcome that when you got a game manager. So the Raiders just got to build a team around him. Good running game, some good receivers, some explosive guys. A tough defense, and you can win, but you can also lose real bad.
Did you hear?
If you don't have that.
Did you hear what David said about the Geno Smith going to the Jets and your buddy Aaron Glenn up there?
No. What did he say?
He said Geno Smith's going back to the Jets. He was traded today to the Jets. Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What'd you say Kenny Pickett was going?
He went to Carolina Panthers.
Oh, okay.
They signed him to a 2-year deal. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I personally, I like Dave Canellis as their head coach. I mean, even though they were 8-9 in a bad division, they still went to the playoffs. And Dave Canellis did better last year than he did the first couple years he was head coach. You have to do that with new coaches if you're patient enough. And Canellis is good at working with quarterbacks. Bryce Young had a reasonable year last year. He had a better year than he had with Reich and all that was there. So you got to give it to Canellis. So maybe this is Kenny Pickett's opportunity. This is his opportunity not to look like a bum and and do something. You know what I mean?
Probably his last shot, huh, Ralph?
Yeah, I
got to make the most of it.
I think this is his fourth team, Smokin' Jim. Come on, the Raiders, the Eagles, the Steelers, and now Carolina's fourth team. I mean, how many more times are you gonna, you know what I mean? What's he gonna be like a Joe Flacco? End up on 8 teams or 12 teams? He'll go Flacco go in the Hall of Fame, and what? I've been with 12 teams, man. I don't know which one to pick. So. Yeah, so I mean, but like I said, that's what I believe about Pickett. I mean, if he doesn't step up with this opportunity, Smokin' Jim, I think he's done. I personally believe that because Dave Canellis and you know what? If I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. But I mean, I think I'm right on this one. I think Canellis can whip him into shape. I really do that. And if he doesn't take it and he gets cut or something like that, then shame on him. Because I'm telling you, Canellis is a very good quarterbacks coach. He really is.
Well, nobody knows coaches like you, man. I respect your knowledge on that. But look what Malik Willis is making compared to Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's he makes a lot of bad choices.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what they're, what he's making, but
he's making around 7, which I was surprised. Kenny Pickett just said. I'm surprised they're paying him that much. Willis is making close to 30.
Wow.
A year.
And you know what's funny though? Kenny Pickett's played more games than Malik Willis right now. I mean, seriously, he has.
But Malik Willis, he didn't quit on his team.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he stayed with Green Bay until he was a free agent.
Yeah, well, he has a good quarterbacks coach up there. Matt LaFleur is very good at working with quarterbacks. And offense,
you had Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett didn't want to play behind Russell Wilson for you.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
He would have. Yeah, he'd have made Steelers would have probably paid him money because, like you said, they give guys chances after chances after chances, and he was a first round choice, so they didn't want to get the backlash from Pitt. Now he's bouncing around.
He's bouncing around the league. And the Steelers blew a first-round pick that they probably could have got something better, and still got Kenny Pickett. because he was projected to go in the 5th or 6th round. So I mean, it was just, you know what I mean. You know, that's where all the experts had him going, and now the experts there look right, and the Steelers are wrong. So I mean, you know, and now the Steelers got egg on their face. And by the way, thank you, Kevin Colbert, because that was your last draft. Thank you. You know, thank you for that. Appreciate that. So, you know, I almost thanked him when we saw him at that Ryan Shazier thing that I was at down in the Strip District at that bar down there. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I saw him there. It was he was done with the draft. I almost said thanks, Kevin. Thank you for drafting Kenny Pickett in the 1st round. You know, I was really close to doing it, but I didn't. You know, I kind of was a little more respectable toward it. You know, so. But anyway, Smokin' Jim, any final thoughts, real quick here? Jamal Dean, Pittman Jr., real quick before we go to Wrestle Talk. Go ahead.
Well, again, you said it best.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was that again? Go ahead.
You said it best that you know, winning the free agent headlines don't mean they're going to play well in the fall, and the team's going to do well. So, you said it best, but yeah, to be able to get a Pittman, although I think they overpaid for him $20 million a year, man, that's a lot of money. And then to be able to get a cornerback with the size of Dean, and I think he was Pro Bowl last year and he was fast. So that was a good pick. But the running back, Rico, might have been a steal. That might have been a steal of the whole free agency.
And I'm glad that and you know what? Thank you for reminding me about him. I almost forgot about him, that Dido or whatever his name is. Yeah, we got him to replace Gainwell. And you know what? He might do better than Gainwell. You know, You know, I think he might. That was a steal right there because he came from Dave Canellis' offense, and now he gets to be in Mike McCarthy's offense. That's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what he does. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
You know, Jalen Warren might not be playing too much next year if this guy works. You know what I mean? You know, so can't help the club if you're in the tub. Maybe we got rid of some of the tubbers. You know? So, all right, for Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Stay tuned. Coming up next, our final edition of Wrestle Talk. We'll be back after the draft with Wrestle Talk and to talk about WrestleMania. And we'll also be back after the draft, to the NFL draft, to talk about more wrestling stuff. But that won't happen until after the draft. We're going to be doing 2-hour specials all the way to the end of the NFL draft here on Sports Corner. For Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Have yourself a great one. And please, by all means, be safe. Thank you. Stay tuned. Coming up, Wrestle Talk.